we liquefied the Giants, kind of like we liquefied the Broncos, kind of like we liquefied the Chargers, at least on offense, kind of like we liquefied for most of the day the New England Patriots. The only ones we didn't liquefy were the Bills. We get a chance to liquefy them in Week 18. We'll see. So there's a lot of good stuff. I was kind of wrong. I said there's not a lot to do with the tape from this game. And I don't think there's a lot to learn so much. Or you can always learn. But I mean, gross, broad-based studies, they don't really apply because the Giants really suck. But the film does offer a lot of fun stuff. And there was a few things in there that I found very, very interesting. So all 22 comes out tomorrow. I'll dig into that then. I'm going to get into the offense and the defense, stuff that we saw from it, just broad-based analysis, nothing too dialed in. I could talk about some things that popped out to me from some key players on both sides of the ball. Before I get into that, though, I want to go over a few little things that I've been seeing, and some of them are funny and some of them I think annoy me. But I'll get into that. To me, I hear the term the Legion of Vroom, and I love that. That is so hilarious. The Legion of Vroom for this kind of speed team, I think it's perfect. I don't think you could do any better for a nickname for this team. So if you guys are out there and you feel it as much as I do, I think we should keep pushing the Legion of Vroom. I love that. I think that's fantastic. Zavala was a left guard that I said was worse than Eichenberg. But he got a neck injury, so I don't think he's going to be playing against us this week. So maybe they have somebody worse on the squad. I thought that I feel bad for the kid because he's a rookie and he's got a neck problem. That sucks. At some point, it's like someone was saying, well, you feel bad for the Bills players who got injured. I feel bad for any human being get injured because if you get really hurt, especially when you're young in the prime of your life, doing a sport you love, it sucks bad. So I feel bad for the kid, but it would have been very interesting to see him play, considering what he's been doing so far, how he's in Eichenberg realm. So I hope he gets better quicker. A-Chain had an injury, and originally I thought it was the shoulder because the way he went down. But Twitter's been helping me out. There's a lot of good stuff on Twitter. If you just know how to parse through it, there's some mind traps too. But someone was pointing out, and I think they led you to a site that talks about injuries. And when you see it, I believe it was Williams or Lawrence. I can't remember. One of the two DTs. Basically, he got two guys sandwiched up on him, and you could see his ankle twist. And so the site and these guys kind of pointed to saying it really looked like an ankle because he limped off the field. And I didn't notice the limping part. I just saw the shoulder going to the ground, and maybe I turned and looked at my popcorn or something like that. So I really appreciate that. So I think it's an ankle. I don't think it's serious, but when you're a speed player like that, even like little tweaks like that kind of suck. So thankfully, though, we're going against the Panthers. So if he needs a break or whatever, to be back for that critical game against the Eagles. But it looks like an ankle thing. So nothing too serious, but nothing good either, if that's the case. We'll see, though. The kid's young, man. The kid's like 20-something years old. His sprained ankles probably disappear overnight or something. So we're going to be going against Bryce Young this week. And he's on target 53% with a 6.3 intended air yards, 30th in the league. This should be another nuke job for us. They're going to keep this kid in to learn stuff, but he's got a long way to go. So I really think this will be another tune-up game for when we go against the Eagles, and that's going to be the critical evaluation for us. So that's essentially news. I want to do one last thing. The Twitterverse has been doing good to me lately, but I see some stuff on there. It just drives me nuts. And it's me. It's just my evaluation. Everybody can have different opinions. That's life, Doesn't mean I'm always right. One of them I saw from, a big-time reporter, and he talked about how two on his second deception hit the helmet of Connor, and that's probably why there was the pick. But he said in the thing, he's like, that wasn't Eichenberg getting driven back. That was Connor. Just saying. And to me, that kind of talk is stupid. And I'm going to kind of show you how stupid it is. First off, Connor came back from a groin injury. He had allowed one pressure. I think that was the pressure for the day. He was going against one of the top 3 or 4 interior pass rushers, 340-pound Lawrence, and Williams was like a top 15, and he gave it one pressure. And he was going one-on-one a lot of the day. So that kind of talk annoys me because then it's like he just throws it out there as a yuck, but a lot of people will go, hey, you know, that might sound intelligent. So I'm going to show you, because I've also seen people boasting about Jackson's play. And, you know, if you just look at stats and stuff like that, and you know, you could say, oh, well, yeah, he's only doing it. But it's the context with what we're seeing. And what I see a lot of is you take 1 or 2 plays or a couple plays that he does well, and you put it up there. And so this Eichenberg thing and the Jackson thing, I want to show you quickly how ridiculous it is. So I want you to take a look at this little quick clip of Liam Eichenberg's great day versus the Bills. Let's take a look here. Here's Eichenberg, number 74. Look at how he snaps that football right in the belly of Tua. Perfect. Then he gets down the line and destroys 97 Daquan Jones. Look at him level Daquan. I mean, look at the speed and agility and balance to get to that second level and destroy the guy at the second level to get that touchdown in a critical moment. This kid is on his way. Look at him celebrate. What a good kid. What a great player. So you could see that sarcasm. Now, this was a good play by the kid. But if we just focus on a couple of plays, you can hide the flaws of a player because you have to understand with offensive linemen. Somebody said to me, if an offensive lineman is successful 75% of the time, they're going to go to the Hall of Fame. And now the person doesn't understand. That's not how it works. One of the worst players in the league, a guy who's barely starting, gets 95% success ratio. So that means out of 20 plays, 19 he wins. And he's at the lower end. The really good guys, 98 and 99%. You know, so that is serious difference. So when you go look at a player, you have to actually, especially an offensive lineman, you have to look at their losses. The losses is how you really evaluate the player. Now, once those losses are kind of deemed to be smaller amounts, then you look, that's the floor, and then you set the ceiling by the successes. But a 98 to 99% win ratio is a good offensive lineman. Now, that was a real nice play again, but anybody who's telling you right now that Austin Jackson, that, you know, he had 30 dropbacks and he didn't let up any pressure. That's what they'll say to you from this week. But there's a whole host of context, and I guess we'll wait to see. I might be wrong, but I will bet 1,000% that by the end of the season, the people who have laid their credibility on Jackson being phenomenal are going to get a hit in their credibility. It's not that he says he's terrible. He is playing around average, maybe slightly below to slightly above, depending. But it's the personnel he's going with. It's the protection he's getting to get him to play to that level that's costing things in other areas. And we will let it see. We'll play out. But understand, he's 95.6. Maybe he's better now. Last time I checked. In order for him to be, or the way people are billing him, he needs a 98 to 99. You know, we want to go down 97.5 win ratio, and that's not what's happening, guys. So we'll see. Hopefully he does prove these people right, but you have to understand in the Twitterverse that you can't just take a couple of plays and create an evaluation. And especially with offensive linemen, you have to look at their failings to create this floor. And then when the floor is deemed to be reasonably acceptable, then you look at the successes to show the ceiling. That's how I do it. I don't know. Maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. So before I get into the rest of the show, there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. There really is. And there was some interesting things. And one of the things is about Tua, one play I really, really, really liked. It didn't end up a success, but there is good stuff that I found through this tape. There was good play through this, but we also have to understand this was a lower level team. So before I get into that, I want to say, guys, thanks for stopping by. The likes, the subscribes, the comments, the views, all that stuff, the subscriptions, and the whole thing, the jazz, makes the algorithm gods happy. Keeps me in business, and I appreciate that. I'm always learning, so the longer I get to do this, the better I'll get, hopefully, and the more I'll learn. So I appreciate all you guys do. I want to give you a shout out to Ace Bread, my sponsor, because without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Ace Bread's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so I'm going to start on defense. Last week I said it's not as bad as it looks. It's not the end of the world. Now, we struggled against the Chargers. They had a mobile quarterback, and he could throw. And then we kind of dominated the Patriots. They don't have a mobile quarterback. They don't have much oomph attacking. Their offensive line was gutted. And then we handled the Broncos, destroyed the Broncos big time. They got loads of issues. Their offensive line's not so good. They're kind of feeling things out. Russ is still kind of figuring things out. And they're not really where they need to be, but we destroyed them. And then we got lost to the Bills. They actually had a brilliant game plan. They decided to get rid of that this week against the Jaguars, and it's the reason they lost, not because Allen sucks or whatever. Dorsey went full genius brilliance against us and then full retard against the Jags. But we weren't able to manage them. Obviously, they put up whatever their number was, 38 or something like that. And then we came back this week and we limited them to 9 points. 7 was given because Tua threw the pick. So I know that we can handle these mid to slightly above average offenses. It's, again, the same thing I'm saying with this offense. What can we do against the better teams? Now, you look, right now, we are third in the league in sacks. That sounds great. And it's no matter how you slice it, it's not terrible. But let's understand, we got 7 sacks from the Giants. So that's almost 50% in one game. We had 2 against the Bills, 1 against Denver, 4 against New England, who had no offensive line, and we had 4 against the Chargers, who had an excellent offensive line. And it's the Charger game, to me, in those 4 sacks, that says a ton. I think this pressure that we were getting, it is good. It is. That Charger offensive line was good. So I don't think we're third in the league, but we're doing reasonably well considering how little we're blitzing. And this is great news. Zach Sealer this week, 5 pressures, 2 sacks, 2 hurries, 1 hit, 3 missed tackles, though. He has a tendency to miss tackles, sometimes because he's just diving like a madman, throwing his sacrifice in his body, and so it's it's almost difficult. It's super hard to make that tackle. He's one of those guys who just has no care for his body. So you got to kind of add that in a little bit. VG, 8 pressures, 1 sack, 7 hurries. 7 hurries. Chubb, 6 pressures, 1 sack, 4 hurries, 1 hit. Wilkins, 7 pressures, 1 sack, 5 hurries, 1 hit. These guys had a great game. This is a terrible offensive line with a terrible quarterback. And so you have to say, well, this is inflated. But even within that inflation, the fact that you're getting 7 pressures from your DT Wilkins and you're getting 8 pressures from VG, who the guy most people kind of considered he was a waste. This is great news. This front has got it. I don't think really there's a little bit of issue. I'll get into that in a second. But Fangio's got the front he needs. It's the linebackers and that secondary. But it's going to get better. The soon addition of Needham, slowly maybe the addition of Cam, a return of Ramsey. These things the only thing that I'm really concerned about right now is the linebacker spot. But if VG can slide back into that middle position when Phillips can take over and eliminate maybe Long or Baker on occasion, maybe this part can be upgraded as well. I don't think we're seeing Tyndale. I think that it's kind of no good. But we'll see. So Raekwon Davis, though he's going to have a really good season, he's struggling. He's doing better in his pass rush, but he's struggling in his run stop. That's one little hole we have. Agba is playing poorly. He just can't do it. I don't know what it is, the injury, it's the stand-up or whatever. Baker, I got to do film on Baker because the stats look good, but when I watch the game, there's things that I didn't like. So I got to go do a real diagnostic of him. And that's what I think one of the things I'm going to do for the film. I don't know what to say about Baker right now. He did excellent in the pass rush, but it's these other things that are critical. I got to do the study on that. Now, Holland, he's got to pick it up. I don't think he really wants to make these tackles. I really think that he's not giving his all when it comes to tackling. I don't know why. Maybe he's just making a business decision. Maybe he's injured. You got to, this guy could be dinged and we don't know about it. You got a bad shoulder, a bad knee, and you're not really, I don't know. But whatever it is, this is limiting his greatness because there's so many plays that could have been turned to garbage if he had made this. So I'm very interested to see how that, I got to see how it plays out over the long haul. But it's very interesting because this guy's a stud, in the coverage, he was thrown out 6 times. He had 4 receptions for 46 yards, 11.5 per, and 27 yards after the catch. And he had that one beautiful, he was beat. He came up and bit, and then the guy did a double move on him, and he managed to catch up and get the hand in there and pull the guy's arm down so he couldn't make the catch. But he was beat. But it was a great play by him. Now, so I got to wait to see some more stuff from him because he screwed it up, but I could not believe he recovered and made the play on him. It seems like when the ball's in the air and it's like close to the receiver, time seems to slow down for him because he makes such brilliant moves. But there are some problems. Got to see how that plays out. I'm going to do some more studying on that. Now, I noticed with this game, there was more base usage, and we opened up with the base and we opened up with the blitz. And I think because they wanted to stop that run early. I thought that was interesting. So that's for the defense. I got to go on to some players. I liked Apple's tackling. I can't deny that. I don't really like Apple too much as not a person. I'm not saying person. I mean as a cover guy. But I got to do more digging into that. I saw some flaws that I flashed on, but I got to see the all 22 for that. But overall, I saw a step up. Still a lot of missed tackles, but I got to see who made them, how they were made. Were people holding to their assignments like I did last week? But I don't know if I'm going to do a big thing on it because this team's so bad. It's I don't know. I might just make a notated assessment and just focus on Baker. I don't know. We'll see. If you guys have any ideas, throw something out there. Maybe that will float my boat. So now I want to get into the offense, but this is going to work for the defense and the offense. It's evaluating blocking. Now, you have to understand that an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman, it's a door concept. Okay? If the door's closed where everyone's like this, straight up, then that's a stalemate. But the goal, unless the defensive lineman's shooting through a gap, but usually that's not how it is. The offensive lineman wants to open the door one way or the other, to get the defender to turn and shade one way or the other. And so this is what happens is you'll see a defensive lineman get into contact with the offensive lineman, then he'll get chipped from his side and he'll begin opening the door, and then he peels off to the second level, and then the offensive lineman finishes opening the door. And that's how you create lanes. And so there's many ways to do this. Sometimes it's a double where they blow the door open, or they, like I said, the chip and then the go where they start opening the door. One guy lets a guy come in and then he opens the door with his, by using the guy's momentum against him. There's many, many ways, but I want you to pay attention to that when you see our defenders holding their gaps or offensive linemen opening those doors. It's a really important concept. Now, Jackson, I talked about it. He didn't have a good game. I mean, the pressures weren't there, but how is that created? How fast was the ball coming out? How much help did he have? How often did they play action away from him? I mean, you have to factor all this stuff in. He didn't play terribly. No, he didn't. But there wasn't really much opportunity, and he was going against very poor players. Now, he is doing enough. And if all the other guys are doing their job, that is enough. But at a certain point, he's going to get isolated. And all it takes is a few plays to ruin a game. So we have to see how he plays out, but I wasn't too impressed with how he played. There definitely was some wins in there, but I think if you go back to the film, you'll see a lot of stuff that might lead you to say something else. Now, Connor, he allowed one pressure, but he was going against Lawrence and Williams, two exceptional tackles. I mean, Lawrence is top 5 pass rusher and a giant. Coming off the injury, he played exceptional. I don't remember any bad snaps. I got to go back and check. Guys, let me know in the comments. I don't remember any, though, but I'm sure there might have been. I just maybe wasn't paying attention. Win, poor game. He suffered against bigger guys, power guys. I said that. But it's okay. He's not always going to face these guys. He's doing reasonably well. The neck thing I'm a little concerned with because you don't want Eichenberg. Although, look at that film I showed. He's pretty good, right? So he didn't have a good game, but that's okay. It's okay. It's very hard. You know, you got to match up the talent. You know, if you're going against exceptional talent, it's very hard to have an exceptional game unless you're absolutely exceptional. So it wasn't a great game for him, but he did enough to create 31 points, and there wasn't much pressure allowed through him. So it was a poor game, but still reasonable, better than what we're seeing last year. You got to be clear on that. He's better than Eichenberg. Now, Lamb, he allowed 1 sack and 1 pressure, and he guy's doing well. He has his weaknesses, but we get the ball out so quick. We have the speed. So it's not as critical through the majority of the situations to have this excellent offensive line. But as I said at the beginning of the season, before it even started, in critical situations against better teams in bad weather environment, and in those moments where you need offensive line talent to win on that play, that's going to be the question. But Lamb is an excellent pickup for us, although he's not Tyrann Who. We can't say that. It's just not. That's not reality. Although if he wants to make that a reality, then do it during the Eagles game. So Julian Hill. He's a very interesting character. He had a poor game a couple of weeks ago. I think it was against the Broncos in his blocking, but he had a good day today. And I got to go look through the film on him because if he can keep that going and increase his ability to block, it will be huge for us because this guy is jacked. Dude. This guy has got the physical tools. So I'm very excited about that. I got to take a look for that. Hunt had a phenomenal game. And Hunt and Connor were going against the big, talented boys in the middle. The guys on the edges, Win was too, going talented, but the guys on the edges were going against poor players. And Hunt had a great game, an excellent game in so many ways. And maybe I need to do some film on him too, because it was a very, very, very good day for him. So this is what I saw in my quick overview. We have talent. We have some growth, even though we were going against a poor team. But it's really hard in this fog of war against a poor setting to really evaluate where that's at. That's why the Bills game was so critical, and why this Eagles game and the Chiefs game and maybe the Patriots. I don't know. I got no belief in them. So, but they're a division opponent. You know, I got to do my thing. But certainly the Eagle game and the Chief game is going to be great evaluations for us. And I'm really excited about that. I think, we just want to be healthy for this game. This is a nuke game. And then that Eagles game is going to talk about our ceiling. And I'm so excited to see what happens with that, guys. So that's really it from what I saw in my early viewings. I'm waiting for the all 22. If you guys have anything you want me to go over, give my 2 cents opinion on, let me know in the comments, and then I'll add that in. Because right now, I want to do Hunt, and I want to focus on, what was the other one? Oh, yeah, Baker. Those two are key pieces I want to kind of figure out. Maybe even look at Holland a little bit, but I think those are going to be 2 key pieces for me. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. We're on our way. 5-1, 4-1, and we'll be 5-1 next week. It's pretty much done deal, guys. And just got to hope for no injuries. And then the Eagles game, 5-1 us, 6-0 them. That's going to be exciting. That is going to be so exciting. But anyway, Curtis saying, catch you next time. Be well. Go Fins. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.